Hi friends, it's Tuesday, January 18th. We had our Board of Supervisors meeting, so I want to just go over some of the highlights with you, and we'll go ahead and put the link to the agenda down below. So if you want to delve deep into any of these issues, I encourage you to do so. Thank you for your attention and your interest in what's going on in Pima County. The first item, so we were meeting from like roughly 9 to 12. One of the first items on the main agenda, was the Sustainable Action Plan for County Operations. That item was moved to March to better correlate with all of the budget requests from all of the departments. I really am hoping that we're going to be able to do the budget requests a little bit differently, giving departments 5 minutes to kind of go over their highlights and their ask for this year is incredibly frustrating for me as someone who's listening to 2 days of hearings, but I'm sure for the departments. I mean, for all of the courts, we had a 5-minute presentation, and they have all of the different arms in different locations and responsibility for so many things. So I'm hoping that we can do that differently. But this item for a review and how the plan is going is going to come back March. The pay-go policy was brought forward by Dr. Hines, and that item is going to be coming back. I'm hoping it was pulled because basically I wanted to see how the new federal funding is going to supplant, maybe free up some funding in our budgets. And so that again is going to be hopefully coming back in March to realign with the budget request for all the different departments. The land acknowledgement, that actually, I want to thank the Sentinel and the Star for putting out something that, we're trying to move forward with this land acknowledgement. That item was going to be coming back to the first meeting in February because the Tohono O'odham Cultural Committee is reviewing the language, and I just want to make sure that everyone is comfortable, happy, and that the goal is really to be respectful, acknowledge where we are historically and the lands that we are, and really build stronger relationships with the tribal lands in District 5 and in Pima County. And so in the main meeting, the other items were hearings and rezoning requests, nothing that really stood out. The next item was a cash bail presentation. We had Amelia Kramer, who used to work as deputy for our previous county attorney, and she came requesting, as part of her role in the NAACP Tucson Branch Executive Committee, a proposal to eliminate bail as a condition of pretrial release from jail and nonviolent crimes. This action is supporting legislation for that is currently in the Arizona legislative session. It's HCR 2022. And so it's called cash bail reform, and that item passed 4-1. And the goal is to go ahead and send the letter to all of our legislators and to the co-chairs of this committee, letting them know that Pima County is supportive of this initiative. There's no cost. It's just, kind of our letter of support. Chair Bronson brought forward COVID testing, an item that is asking for 1,000 more tests to be distributed in rural areas and to fund testing needs. I know if any of you have tried to go online and get an appointment, it is incredibly difficult. I just tried before I got onto this taping, and the only location that has any availability is the international airport, which is not incredibly convenient for everyone. And of the other sites, it's January 25th is the next available. So we do need to figure out a solution, because I know many people are trying to get back to work and to school. And with the reduction in Binax test availability, that really PCR test is the only option that we have. It is also the most reliable. So I'm hoping that helps a little bit. That will free up 1,000 tests per week. And I believe Paradigm is the contractor that said that they would be able to do that. Minimum requirements for Becton Dickinson and Company facility. So this item we brought forward as a resolution, and I want to read a little bit of my introduction to the item. So Becton Dickinson and Company has applied for an air quality permit to establish ethylene oxide sterilization facility in our community. Ethylene oxide is used to sterilize medical equipment, but is also highly flammable, toxic, and carcinogen. There are other sterilization alternatives in most, if not all cases, but companies have invested considerable resources into lobbying the EPA and federal government on behalf of the more profitable ethylene oxide use. So this facility is going to be located near a community that has had devastating health effects by PFAS and TCE pollution. One of Becton Dickinson's own facilities in Georgia created a cancer cluster that is about a 5-mile radius of that plant. And there's more than 150 lawsuits filed against this specific company. PDEQ, which is the organization that's going to oversee and approve the permit, basically says that we can't use their company's history as a factor into the permit approval process. So we are asking that this permit have incredibly stringent conditions to keep this company accountable. One of the concerns that I have is Sun Corridor, which Pima County funds $650,000 a year. I believe I voted against that. But that company is the one that brought Becton Dickinson to Pima County. And I think it's really clear, based on the fact that this item passed 4-1 with Supervisor Christie voting against, that we make sure that Sun Corridor understand that we want them to bring businesses, sustainable jobs to our community, but not businesses that are going to pollute our community and then leave. And so we're doing everything we can to try to safeguard our community, because ethylene oxide is incredibly toxic and dangerous. So that item passed 4-1. So I was glad to see that. When the revisions came for parental leave to 6 weeks, 100% paid, I was actually hoping for 12, said so in the board meeting. And today, staff requested approval for going from 6 weeks to 12 weeks of family leave. That includes after you have a baby or the adoption of a baby. So I was really happy to see that, and I'm hoping to see more positive improvements in Pima County's all of our different benefits. I think it's going to be really helpful. An item passed 4-1 for Partners in Health to provide consultation for COVID-19 K-12 school reopening programs that have mental health and other factors included into the analysis. It is a contract amount through ADHS funds, so it's not coming out of Pima County, but I am glad that we have a program that's going to be focusing some energy on that. And there was a 4-1 vote in favor of a master agreement for 1 year to provide food and other necessaries in food service for county congregate and non-congregate shelters. So I think that was great. And I believe that was focused specifically on Casa Alitas. There was a agreement to provide COVID Binex Now card tests, and that was an extension of the one that we already have. We continue to have the need for more testing capacity, and so this is another way to do that. And the funding source is also ARPA. There was a MacArthur Foundation acceptance request to provide the Safety and Justice Challenge focused on racial equity in the amount of $238,000. We were just accepting that grant, and so I was happy to do that, and that was 4-1. And the other item was an application from Natural Resources, Parks and Recreation to approve an application to Arizona Game and Fish Commission for the Clay Target Center shooting range. This would be a matching fund, so Pima County would put in roughly $30,000. And what it would do is provide for a slab where like some sort of trailer or something could be placed there, and that people would live there on the property, since the Clay Target shooting range has been there had been some vandalism and some theft there. I voted against that item because as someone who lives on the south and west sides, our parks are regularly targeted and vandalized. They didn't have the information, county staff didn't have the information as to what the cost has been for the theft or the damage. And if we're going to be providing that kind of support at the Clay Target shooting range, I think we should be providing that same kind of support, or at least a plan to secure our parks and other recreational areas that are, quite frankly, more accessible and more utilized than perhaps the claw shooting range, claw target shooting range. We had a consent agenda. I think it's the first time in the history of our board meetings that not one item was pulled, so it's kind of a surprise. So it's a quick meeting, but I think we went through a lot of things. I want to thank you all for your attention. I want to encourage you to please stay safe. This Omicron variant is incredibly contagious, and that most of the people that are getting, I want to say it's a 60-40 split, with 40% of the people that are getting Omicron are fully vaccinated. So they don't have data on boosting, so I want to encourage you to get boosted. I'm hoping that we can continue to sustain all of the work in school environments. It's incredibly difficult right now. Our schools are experiencing just incredible staff shortages. My daughter's first period class had 4 students in it, and so it is incredibly contagious. Please stay safe. Use N94, 95, KN if you can't access the N94s, but please utilize something other than a cloth mask. If you have a cloth mask and that's all you have, double up, use 2, or use one of the surgical masks in addition to the cloth mask. That would be safer. But stay safe out there, my friends. I know so many people, and I know all of you do, that are dealing with being quarantined right now and isolated. So stay safe. Thanks so much for your attention.